But that's the reason why many sitcoms fail very quickly, because people forget that the greatest sitcoms were very poorly rated at the beginning. Seinfeld had very poor ratings. Everybody Loves Raymond was their ass was being kicked by Frasier all the time. And what happens is that it takes audiences an amount of time to get to know the characters. Once they get to know the characters, they begin to invest in the characters. They have expectations about the characters. So it's about creating those clear archetypical characters that you begin to relate to like your own family. I mean, every television show is a dysfunctional family that has the good fortune of not being your family, and you only get to be with them a half hour. But once you can do that, you can anticipate and you can create comedy just based upon the anticipation, whereas if you tune into something and you don't know who the people are and they're just basically working on jokes, it's hard to invest in them.
It's always about character. It's all about character. Whether it's a movie, you see a movie and you're really invested in it, you're in the movie. But if you don't care, you're outside the movie and you're just kind of watching. And that's why great television is there in your home, in your living room, or now on your phone. But you really kind of invest. I heard that on Seinfeld that there was, I don't know if this is true, wives' tales, whoever the old wives are, is that it was the mantra of Larry and Jerry was no lessons and no hugs. Is that true?
I mean, it's true but not true, which is it wasn't written in Latin and hanging on a wall anywhere. You know, no one ever said it. It just kind of was. I mean, no one also really was sitting around going, it is about nothing. You know, they were, jam-packed episodes. The first time I outlined a Seinfeld, when I got the job, I put up what I thought was an entire act of a show. I filled a board with an act, a dry erase board, and they came in and I showed them off my work, and they took everything that I had there and just kind of shoved it down into 2 scenes. And so nothing was really lost. It just was things sort of started in the middle and whatever, but everything was now in 2 scenes. And I kind of did the same thing, and I filled that act, and they shoved it down again. They did that act, and they kind of shoved it down. And somewhere in there, one day I had an act, and then I had a second act, and it was, the whole nothing thing, it was jam-filled with something, and then you'd watch, the Jim Belushi show, and in Act 1, Jim's wife would yell at him to take out the garbage, and then there was an act break. And in Act 2, she said, "You still haven't taken out the garbage." And this went on for another 11 minutes, and at the end, he took the garbage out, and you kind of went, whoa. And not to get all cinema-y, but you almost had to go back to, I think, things that people had maybe a little bit forgotten about, but like sort of your Billy Wilder kind of like Some Like It Hots and 1, 2, 3s, just to see the speed, that I realize we started talking about the no hugs, no whatever, but that's some of what I think Seinfeld almost in a weird way doesn't get credit for. It's just jamming so much story in. And the nice thing in a half hour is you really can just sort of triangulate and build to something. We can do it on Curb as well. Whereas in a movie, in a perfect world, you can do that in an act. You can do that in your third act, or you can do that somewhere. But if you try and do an entire movie that is building and building and building, I do think you will wear out the audience. And by the way, it's something that sort of occasionally shows itself in the hour-long episodes of Seinfeld, which perhaps don't work quite as well as the half hours, and even a little bit, again, not criticism of it. I'm proud of it, but we did a Clear History, the HBO thing with Larry David, which was kind of like a Curb movie, but definitely was kind of following more sort of TV structure than movie structure, and we ended up just kind of shortening the movie a lot because the notion of a 2-hour movie that was trying just to build as opposed to, having sort of like a true second act just didn't really work. So we ultimately went for like a much shorter movie, if that makes sense.